That movie is a classic. Not only does it show the significance of the lives of a group of people that many would disregard or consider to be insignificant, it clearly shows the cost of revenge and unforgiveness. I'm sure many of you are familiar with this movie, but just a little background. The three guys that were killed were neighborhood terrorists. They were in a gang. They would ride around with their guns and point them at people and scare them, and they'd also randomly kill people. One of the people that they killed was a kid named Ricky, who was a promising kid in the neighborhood, who was the first in his family to go to college, and he had a promising football career. Well, he was the younger brother of the Ice Cube character, who's the guy that got out of the car with the pistol. But the real story of revenge is shown in his face after he kills the guy. I mean, there's no release. He doesn't feel good about what he's done. He's confused, he's dazed, and he's still feeling that bitterness inside, which is the result of the sin of that whole process. There is no release without forgiveness. I had a pastor who had a favorite saying, which was, bitterness is a pill that we take and expect to see other people get sick. Bitterness is something that we harbor inside. It's something that it affects us physiologically, emotionally, psychologically, and spiritually. We know that God tells us that we should forgive because God will forgive us as long as we forgive. But it's also, much of what God tells us to do, it's an issue of obedience, but it's also an issue of practicality. Bitterness hurts us. Bitterness makes us sick. And only through forgiveness can we release this and process this and be healthy spiritually and physically. So I'm anxious to see or to read your responses to this, but I also want to leave you with another question too to write about. I mean, we're right in the midst of this whole ISIS incident in Paris, and God tells us to love our enemies. Well, the relationship that we have with ISIS is that they could attack any one of us because we're all infidels. How do we process that forgiveness? This is someone who. How do you process forgiveness with an individual, a group of people who their goal is not to get along with you, not to meet you halfway. Their goal is to either change you or to destroy you. And in a way, they change us anyway because to deal with their particular mentality forces us to change who we are. But I'm just curious to see what you guys have to say about how we're going to love an enemy that basically despises us. Okay, thank you for your time, and I look forward to seeing your responses.